So welcome to video 4. In this video, we're going to be emphasizing standing poses. In yoga asana, the poses that we do, there is a lot of standing, and it all really starts from Tadasana, how we stand symmetrically. So take a few moments and feel the ground underneath your feet. Because as you know in life, we get derailed and we get pushed over and we get pushed down. But this also gives us a spiritual context to go, wow, some of those obstacles are helping me get up stronger each time. So we're going to start with a pose that is a beautiful pose in the sense that we're standing not only on one foot and one leg, but we're honoring trees and the growth that comes from we have strong roots. And sometimes we have to prune those roots so the tree keeps growing. So you're going to stand on your left foot. Place your hands onto your hips. I want you to lift your right leg just a little bit up off the ground, your right foot. Whoa, notice what happens. Just do your best to find that anchor, and it's fine to fall. Then right here in your hip socket, rotate. This is your thigh bone in the hip socket. And bend your knee. Place your foot below your knee, or maybe it's above. It doesn't really matter. Do your best to drop your right hip down and pin the left hip in. Don't worry about pushing your right thigh back, right? It's going to be slightly forward. And then do you feel the roots of your left foot? It's like the anchor, the trunk of the tree. And as you lift through the roots, through that strength that we are building, and placing your hands to your heart. If you feel like you want to play with a little bit more flow and balance, reach your arms up overhead and see if you can stay fluid even in sometimes the struggle or the challenge, right? So strength isn't just brute force, it's working with your life force. And then place your hands to your heart, draw your right thigh forward, and place your foot down. And maybe give that a little shake, a little shimmy out, right? And then standing on your right foot, you'll lift your left leg out in front of you. Rotate it, this is that hip socket, so just see where your rotation happens, and then place your foot below, maybe above your knee joint. And then as you do this, keep your left sit bone releasing down, hug the right hip in so you feel those strong roots. Right? And we play with balance, and it's fine to fall out of balance. That's all part of the journey. And then placing your hands here at your heart. And maybe explore with reaching your arms overhead. Sometimes we have to be willing to fall down. It's not about getting it right. It's exploration. All right, with those strong roots, take one more breath, and then place your hands to your heart. Draw your left leg forward. And then as you let it go, give it a little shake. Okay, so the next pose we're going to do is a standing pose called Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. All right, so it's not just physical strength, it's how we have the strength to stay present in challenges, and that obstacles that we meet are there for us to connect to that strength that we carry. Right, so what I'm going to ask you to separate your feet really wide. Okay, so wide, wide, wide. Turn your right leg out from deep in your hip socket, so your foot's pointing towards your mat or whatever you're standing on. Take your back foot and hip and slightly rotate it forward. Think of your left leg as like that Tadasana leg, and then bend into your right leg and just notice how that feels. Right? These warrior poses, strong and staying with sensation, not pushing sensation away because it's challenging. Stay with it. Now, as you hug this right hip in, a little lift of the right side of your pelvis, and then from your strong center, float your arms out. And as you breathe across your collarbones, you might want to take your gaze out of your right fingertips. So that strength in these poses is also that one-pointed focus. When the mind starts to go into story or distraction, can you stay present and listen to the wisdom of your body? That's strength. And as you inhale, slowly start to straighten your right leg, turn your right leg forward, and then relax your arms. Second side. Turn your left leg out from deep in your hip socket, so your foot's pointing to the back of your mat. Take your back foot and hip and slightly rotate it forward. And as you bend into your left leg, right, keep this left hip hugging under. Draw the root of the right thigh bone back. And then as you float your arms, it doesn't matter how far you bend. And that's also another kind of strength in these warrior poses. The courage to be authentically who you are. When we compare, and we do at times, right, we leave our center. So honoring where you are in your own center, holding your arms strong, and keeping your gaze and your focus to the sensations your body is sending you. Right? Keep those lines of communication open. As you inhale, start to straighten your left leg, turn your left leg forward, relax your arms. And then take a few moments, just bring your feet together. You might want to give them a little shake, a little shimmy. And we're gonna do one more standing pose that I love. It's one of my favorites. It's called triangle pose. So the same thing, separate your feet, maybe not quite as wide. You're gonna turn your right leg out from deep in your hip socket. So it's pointing the front of your mat. Take your left foot and hip and slightly rotate it forward. Both legs are straight. Now, place your hands onto your pelvis. Your pelvis starts to hinge. And as you hinge, you really want to listen because your right hamstrings will tell you when to stop. And then you place your hand maybe on your shin, maybe you have a block or a book, and then float your left arm up towards the sky for Trikonasana triangle pose. So the base of the triangle, feel the solid roots, that connection to your center, that breath as you open up through that top arm. And it's some time and space to feel stability, to get grounded and centered, and stay home in the triangle that you are creating. As you inhale, slowly start to come on up, and then turn your right leg forward, relax your arms, second side, turn your left leg out from deep in the hip socket, take your back foot and hip and slightly rotate it forward. And place your hands onto your pelvis, and then your pelvis hinges. And as you hinge, your hamstrings will tell you when to stop. So you're like, okay, listen. And place your hand on your shin, maybe a block or a book, and then reach your right arm up towards the sky. So take those few moments to feel the feet rooted, that strength in your center. And it's like your top arm is the peak of that triangle. When we feel grounded and rooted, then we can let that peak of that triangle grow. And we feel stable and spacious. And feel that stability in your own body. And when you tune into your breath and your intention, what that space allows you to create. As you inhale, slowly come on up. Turn your left leg forward, relax your arms. And then same thing, bring your feet together. And you might want a little shake. Sometimes people like to jump these days. It's just kind of nice to clear space. And as you clear that space, taking a moment to feel that grounding. And as you have those strong roots and these poses, bring that up so we have the courage to uproot old patterns and create new pathways that are in attunement with your inner personal strength.